The reason there's so much tension in our country about experts versus non-experts, educated versus not educated, degreed versus degree free, colleges have been so greedy that what they have done is that they have created different classes in society, and those classes do not necessarily reflect their level of education. And that has created a lot of class warfare. If the colleges had really been ethical from the get go, and they fundamentally are not because of the business practices that have led them to putting so many people in debt and to doubling tuition every 9 years, even though the value of what they sell does not double every 9 years. What has happened is that they have watered down the worth of the label that they sell. And what nobody will really put words to is the fact that just because someone now has a college degree does not mean they're educated anymore. And that's why our society is having such a tough time deciding who's an expert and who's educated, because the definition of educated now is somebody that has deep knowledge on a subject, and that deep knowledge gives them authority. The problem is that because of the internet and the democratization of information, there are podcasters, there are YouTube creators, there are just individual talking heads that are in fact more educated on deeper subject than many people with PhDs. And that's because our university system is incentivized to sell degrees, not to make people educated. Subconsciously, people know that just because someone has a PhD does not any longer mean that they're educated. Those terms are not synonymous, though they used to be, because there was a much smaller group of people and the colleges quite literally physically had information, and it was barred from other people by the paywall of the college. But that's just not the case anymore. And so the way to fix this is just evaluating people by whether or not they're educated by their actions and by their authority. So how deeply do they know the subject? How correct are they when they speak? And that's really how we should be evaluating people for their level of education in 2025. What are their results? What have they done? How do they speak? Are they right? And while that's a difficult question to answer in a time where information seems so fluid and you can find the right stats for anything, it is no longer the colleges that define who is educated. Colleges paper people. There are people who are papered who are educated. But the reason that we're experiencing this giant shift in respect and who we look to for authority is because people who are not papered can be equally or sometimes and often now more educated.